welcome to MandoLessons Live. Let me know, I look a little choppy on my screen. I don't know if that's coming through to you guys. Let me know if it is. I'll try to fix it if I can. Don't know if I'll be able to, but let me know. It definitely doesn't look normal on my end, and I think once I'm actually going here, I don't know if I can. Let me see if I can just get in here and do one thing real quick. YouTube, where is it? There it is. Alright, let's try normal and see what happens there. I don't know. Yeah, I can't change that. Sorry for the little technical moment in the morning. Oh, looks okay, cool, great. Well, I just seem a little choppy on my end, but maybe it's just my end. Cool. Awesome. All right, let's see. Who do we got here? We got Lindsay, we got Edward, Jim, Mike, Stuart, William. I gotta turn down that little bleep so it doesn't. Let's see. Stuart, William, Joe, Sheldon, David, Woody. Maybe another David, maybe the same David. Sometimes it's hard to tell when they're just flying by. Mando Pirate, good to have you here. Lewis, Will, Ursanos, James, the old crew, Jane, Neil, Thorleaf, Rupinto, apologies if I'm not saying anybody's name right, Alan, all kinds of folks, Will, seeing some new names, Sherry, I think I'm just repeating myself now, amazing, great to see you all. Oh, Jim says, yeah, a little choppy. Well, we'll work with it, I'll try to move slowly. Cool. Yeah, so we started out there with the tune Seneca Square Dance, also known as Waiting for the Federals. And John from Canada, good to have you, welcome. So, yeah, started out with a little Seneca Square Dance, great old-time tune. And the way these work, if you haven't been here before, is it's Q&A. So, keep the questions rolling, I'll do my best to answer them, and we'll have a good time. If this is your first time here, let me know in the chat. Feel free to join in. It's always great seeing folks chat it up in the chat. I like it when I can't keep up. So, no question too simple, no question too advanced. It's all good here. Hope you're all having a good holiday season. Hey, Matt and Shannon. Good to have you here. Matt and Shannon have a great... if you ever get done with these live streams and want to go play some Irish tunes, Matt and Shannon have an awesome live stream every Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, I'm a little hard with the time change. 2 Eastern, making that, 11 Western Pacific. And yeah, they have an awesome Irish session on Shannon's. You can look up Shannon Heaton, Heaton. I like to try to tune in there and play some Irish tunes occasionally when I have the chance. So great to have you there. Can you explain or maybe give examples of playing on the beat versus ahead or behind? Yeah, so that's... James has got a great question here. Here I can... Oops, that's not the right question. There's the question. So what James is talking about is actually kind of a fairly subtle thing. Essentially, let's think about it this way. I'll see if I can try to... I'm not great at explaining this, but you know, if you got a metronome going... Woo, that's real fast. You can sort of play, so that's right, the metronome's always going to be right on the beat. Hopefully that's coming through one way. I'll do it this way. So that's like, as on the beat, that would be... And playing, let's see if I can do this. strum. Kind of like push it a little bit. It really kind of comes down to a subtle, whether you're trying to play, you know, the beat is going, and you got to figure out, like, am I going to be da, 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 or am I going to be a little bit ahead? Da, 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 da. The tune I'm playing right now is Seneca Square Dance, also known as Waiting for the Federals. If you want to learn it, you can find it on my website, MandoLessons.com, or here on YouTube. All right. So yeah, so that's a little bit ahead, and then a little behind would be like ya da 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 da. It's just a little bit of a lag or a little bit of a push on the beat. It's a little hard to kind of explain and showcase with like just me. It really becomes more noticeable and something to think about as you play with like larger ensembles, because if everybody's kind of expressing the beat slightly differently, it can become a little bit sloppy. So it's something, it's really most of like a feel thing. So that's not the best explanation I've ever done, but hopefully that helps a little bit. And you know, so it's not being like out of time. I guess it can be if you push the beat too much. You can be out of time, or if you drag too much, like behind the beat. I think the way that I experience it most is playing in dance situations where, you know, I'm playing for a contra dance or a square dance or something like that, and you know, if I'm playing guitar and I'm behind the beat, that's gonna kind of bring down the energy a little bit, and actually could slow down like the fiddle player, or at least like relax the melody player in a way that like doesn't keep the energy up. And so what I try to do is either be like right on or push the beat a little bit, be ahead of the beat to kind of keep the energy up for the dancers, to kind of give more energy to the dance. All right, let's see. Ursina says, got frustrated trying to learn Banished Misfortune and swapped to trying my fingers at Flowers of Edinburgh, and shocked myself by playing it all the way through within an hour. Awesome. Yeah, that's the thing. You know, sometimes, like Banished Misfortune, it's kind of a twisty tune. It's got a lot going on. And Flowers of Edinburgh is also a pretty notey tune. But, you know, sometimes a tune just clicks, and that's always something to find. If you ever, like, you know, aren't getting through a tune, don't worry about it. It's all good. Let me try something here. I'm still seeing myself be all choppy. Let's see. Is that? It could be better. A little hard to tell. I'm going to go here for a second. Sorry for all this combo. I'm just trying to reset the system without totally losing my stream here. I can't tell if that's better. All right, let's see. Have you learned trumpet hornpipe yet? I have not, no. But I'll see if I can get to it at some point. It's hard to keep up with all the tunes. Too many tunes in too little time. I'm sure you all know the feeling. Will says, I was gifted a tetracordo Greek bouzouki. Do you have an Irish one or Greek one in your array of stuff back there? So what Will's talking about is the 8-string bouzouki. And then there's tricordo, which is 6 strings. I don't have a 6-string or an 8-string at the moment, but I do have this monster, the 10-string. So this is what kind of now gets called a cittern. So it's tuned. The strings that aren't the lowest one are G, D, A, D, like a lot of bouzouki players tune. I've got an octave on the G string. then it also, the peculiar thing about this one is it also has, ooh, that's not in tune. Yeah, good enough. Ooh, not good enough. It's got a low D string, which also has octaves. So... be good enough for now. So I use this thing to back up Irish sessions, and I honestly don't use the low D all that much for Irish stuff. That's more of like kind of a, it can get a little bit muddy if I'm always banging away with the lowest note that I've got. So I do a lot of just like... to back up Irish stuff. So that's the closest that I've got to a Greek or Irish bouzouki at the moment. Is the bouzouki plus, also what people call the cittern. All right, let's see. Mando Pirate says, who's got their mandolin in their hand right now? I hope lots of people. That's the way, or whatever instrument you play. I hope you got an instrument in your hand so you can play along. Do I know Real de la Bru? I'm probably not saying that correctly, but I do not, at least not by name. Neil's got a good question. When I was talking about the beat, isn't a chop usually off the downbeat? It's on the downbeat. This is kind of getting into the weeds of kind of rhythmic. So it's on the downbeat, but it's on the 2 and 4. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the bass is playing. Let's see. The bass is playing 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. And the mandolin in the classic bluegrass situation would be going chop, 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 chop. 2, 4, 2, 4. It's hard to do all at once, but so it's on a down beat, but it's on the 2 and 4, which you can also think of as like an off beat. It's kind of weird. It's something that's a little easier to hear than like kind of talk about. All right. Who made the cittern? This is made, I'm blanking on his name. Sobel, Stefan Sobel, over in England, made in the early 80s. I got it. I did not buy it in the early 80s. But yeah, it's a Sobel. I got a couple year or so ago now. I got it used. So the tuning again from low to high is D in octaves, G also in octaves, and then D, A, D. So these 4 strings, like discounting the lowest one, G, D, A, and then D. So an E would be like an octave mandolin, G, D, A, E. But I'm taking that E string down to D to give it more of kind of a droney sound, and then it's got the low D. So D, G, D, A, D. I know, man. I want to play with. Wish I could come hang out at your session. I was gonna be in Maine, but decided to cancel the trip. Maine COVID numbers are super high right now, and Portland, Oregon is pretty low, so figured it's best to stay put. But hope to see you guys when I next get to the Northeast, which will be sooner rather than later, I hope. Yeah, it's a little bit like a 12-string guitar and a mandolin. Arsenault. Hey, Denise, good to have you here. Welcome. Do you recommend a soft pick or a hard pick for Mando? Great question. From JMac. I will... Yes, it's a Cittern. It's a little confusing because Cittern is actually like an early guitar relative. There's like medieval Citterns, but then there's sort of folk Cittern, which is now this 10-string giant bouzouki thing. I feel like a lot of the questions today have been pretty like in the swirly nether regions of music and instrument naming. But so soft pick versus hard pick, it's ultimately personal preference. I like to use like when I was playing that Cittern, I was using a soft pick, but I'll use both on a mandolin. So here is a nice soft bendy pick. Little nylon, what is it, 0.8? 0.88, which feels a little more bendy than your average plastic 0.88. It's kind of equivalent to like what I think of as like the Dunlop Tortex kind of classic colored picks. Those, it feels similar to more like a 0.6, but I like the nylon because they're a little more sturdy and I can kind of wear through picks pretty quick. But these nylon ones hold up. So here's the thin pick. And here is a hard pick. Pick tasting for you. Ultimately, totally up to whatever you prefer. I like the big, thick triangle picks. This is like 1.5 millimeter Dunlop prime tone. And I don't really know any holiday tunes, unfortunately, and a lot of them are copyrighted. But yeah, I'm not very up on my Christmas tunes, unfortunately. I mostly just play fiddle tunes. Incessantly. All right, let's see. So yeah, on Patreon I've been posting I've got some instruments from Lawrence Smart that he's building for me. And Woody's got a question. I posted some pictures on Patreon. Thanks for posting on Patreon. Are all three instruments arched on back and front? Yes, they are. Yeah, the picture wasn't super detailed. But yeah, they're both arched. I'm having a 10-string mandocello, a 6-string guitar, and a 4-string tenor guitar built, and they are all arch top, arch back, spruce over maple carved instruments. Cool, Neil. I'm glad you enjoyed the mandolin, mandola, mandocello. Sorry, mandolin, mandola, octave mandolin video. Nice. Arsenault uses that exact 0.88. This is my kind of I'm not joking when I say it, but it's kind of a funny thing to say. This pick is my favorite gear acquisition of 2021 because, let's see if I can find another one. Here's what I was using before. This is a 1.14, and this is a 0.8, and they're almost the exact same color. I think they are just the exact same color, and I can't tell them apart. And I like the 1.14s for like some guitar stuff, and I like the 0.88 for like bouzouki and kind of lighter tenor guitar stuff. And I can't tell these two picks apart. So every time I pick them up, I have to be like, oh, is this a Is that a 1.14 or is it a 0.8? It's got these little bits of writing on them, and they came out with their 50th anniversary special Jim Dunlop golden pick color. So I got a bunch of the 0.88s in gold just so I can tell them apart, because I was so tired of like always grabbing the wrong pick. So that's my very exciting, very high-end Gear of the Year award goes to the golden pick. You know, these things are like 50 cents a piece. But it's just the color makes all the difference. It makes us picksters. Alright, let's see. What is your go-to piece of music for the mandolin? I'd say it kind of moves around. It's just kind of whatever tune I'm excited about at the moment. Like when I picked up the mandolin this morning, I was playing a tune. I don't even know if I can start it again. High Up on Tug. This is the B part. Here's the A part. Very crooked. It was a little floppy, but yeah, it's a tune called High Up on Tug that I learned from the Iron Leg Boys. I think West Virginia, old time group. Very weird. It's not on my website. I'll see if I can find. Denise apparently likes that tune. That's what I like to see. I love it when Denise likes a tune because it means it's probably a good one. High Up on Tug, Iron Leg. I think their album's on Bandcamp. Yeah. Alright, I'm going to put a link to that tune. The whole album's great. Do they have more records? Whoa. Alright. I just found out these guys have more records. I thought they only had the one. I'm going to be looking at that. So there is a link to hearing High Up on Tug. Very crooked. It's like kind of A, or maybe just one A. I couldn't remember how long to play the A. I think I played it too many times the last time through. It's kind of got like it's kind of like A, B, 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 but the third B is a little different from the first two B's. Yeah, you just gotta work it out for yourself how you want to think about that tune. Let's see. Will says, Dunlop Primetone, pick of choice when I got my mandolin with a small variety of picks. I chose the Primetone, round edges, stiff, and never tried another. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, I've mostly stuck with this style pick, the like about 1.5 millimeter. I used blue chips for a while before the Primetones existed. And I can't personally tell the difference between blue chips and Primetones, and prime tones are 1/30th the cost or something, so kind of went for those. But before that, I used like dog picks for a little while, the super round ones. I don't love how round those are anymore. I also use the, oh, what is it? They're really soft. They're I think they're still Dunlop. I can't remember what they're called. They're kind of like tortoise colored, a little bit see-through. I think they're the same kind of material that the dog picks are made out of, or like Golden Gate. I can't remember what they're. Anyway, yeah, for a long time I've just used these big triangles, so that's mostly what I'm used to. It's a little bit instrument dependent. Like on old Gibsons that are like built a little lighter and maybe have some lighter strings on them, I'll go to that 1.14 nylon pick. You just gotta try stuff out, you know. Not a bad way to spend $5 on a couple cheap picks of various sizes and shapes and materials and see what you like the best. Stuart says, for an aspiring professional mandolinist, what are the must-haves in your toolkit? Or at least a good place to start. Do you mean like kind of gear-wise or skill-wise? This is a great question. I guess, well, I'll just answer them all. So, let's see, what do I have? If I open up a case, let's start with gear. You gotta have a mandolin. You gotta have a pick and extra picks on you. You gotta have extra set of strings, a couple set of strings, maybe a string winder. I really like these things. They really help change strings quick, and you can clip off the ends. Yeah, nothing fancy. Oh, what else? Like I often will have like a clip-on microphone system, so I just have a mic that clips on. But that sort of depends on whether you want a clip-on mic or kind of walk up and back from, if you're playing on stage, getting, so you need some sort of microphone. Often the venue will supply it, so you don't necessarily need your own. But for like the clip-on stuff, so it's just attached to your instrument, I've got a clip-on microphone in my case. Let's just open the case and find out. I really like this question. So what do I have in here? Got an extra inhaler because I have asthma. Picks. Oh, extra. That's it. Let's grab a bunch of random stuff out of here. So I've got a capo, which I don't often use, but sometimes it can be helpful. I've got some little business cards. I've got, for these clip-on tuners, where is that tuner? Anyway, you know the kind, like the clip-on snarks. I've got a bunch of those extra little button batteries in there. I've got a capo if I need it. I don't often use it, but sometimes somebody wants like really open ringing chords in the key of B major, so I'll capo up to the 4th fret. Etc. That's pretty much it. I've got an old receipt from like a hardware store. Clip-on mic. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's about it on the gear side. You know, you can get like like a strap as like an accessory. I think straps are really helpful. Less important things like an armrest or a tone guard. Whatever you need to like keep your instrument playing. Like I've got some guitars that are old and kind of cranky, so I'll have like a little piece of sandpaper in case like one of the slots in the bridge gets funky. Or for guitar, the ability to like pull the pins on in the bridge. But I don't have a whole lot of kind of must-have mandolin accessories. Mostly just the instrument and extra picks, extra strings. And then I think must-haves in my toolkit of like skills. I think, you know, it really depends on what kind of music you want to play. If you want to play bluegrass, you know, having your chop chords down, knowing how to play in the keys you're going to get called to play in. So some bluegrass bands will just play in G, C, and D. Some bands, like if you're Bill Monroe, like to play in B natural, B major. So kind of having the ability to play in different keys, to to act as the kind of role of the traditional mandolin in bluegrass. Or if you want to play tunes, you just got to know the tunes other people know. Straps all tangled up here. So, hopefully that's helpful. And just keep playing, you know. Get out and play with other people as much as you can these days. And, you know, make a list of the stuff you don't know and stuff you need to practice. And then when you have a list, go work on it. All right, let's see if I can get back to some of these questions. Yep, you can drill a hole in picks to tell them apart. I was actually looking in this case that I opened up. I have my old system, which I had like a gold highlighter pen. Before they even made gold ones, I put a little spot on them so I could tell them apart a little different with like a paint pen. But now that they make the gold ones, whew, I'm set. Lewis says, haven't been working on fiddle tunes. YouTube reminded me of the Graham Parsons tunes Hickory Wind and Love Hurts. Great songs. Key change in Love Hurts that's kicking me in the shins. Yeah, I know Hickory Wind. I don't know Love Hurts as well. I've heard. I'll have to go listen to it again. Ravi Shankar played sitar with the Beatles. He opened a show and did some doodling around, got nice applause, and said, "That's the first time I got applause for tuning my instrument." Yeah. All right. Will says, I think the thing I like about this style of music is the framework or somewhat simple traditional tunes, but the ever-flowing embellishments and improv in and around it. Yeah, that's what I like, is like, you know, you've got what I often call like the skeleton of the tune, which is just the notes, but then it's all the kind of, all the meat you put around it. That's kind of a weird way of putting it. Yeah, you know, like how do you change it a little bit, things like that. Something about crooked tunes. Yeah, Denise is a big fan of the crooked tunes. Nice. Brianne says, sprung for the blue chip CT55. Love it to death, but have to tuck it in the strings when not playing to avoid losing it. Yeah, I used the CT55 for a bunch of years. I lost a couple, and that sucks. That's the thing about expensive picks. Will says, I remember Earl Scruggs commenting that he really hardly ever played the same song the exact same way. Yeah, improv around the structure. And that's the thing, you know, like, so much about this music is kind of the repetitive nature and the repetition. Like, in old-time music, you're playing the tune over and over and again for, 10 minutes without changing. In Irish music, it's usually a couple times through, and then you do a different tune. In old-time music, you're playing the tune over and over again, and if you've got the skeleton of the tune, if you're just playing the exact same way, it's not going to be as fun. But if you let your fingers wiggle around a little and see what comes out, that's where it gets fun for me too. Jim says 2B or not 2B. I think it was long enough ago that I don't know what that's referencing to. How often should adding double stops to a tune you've previously played? Just the melody means learning very different fingerings, or should the melody inform the double stop fingering? Yeah, the melody should generally inform the double stops available, at least in my style. Like, you can also do things like move up the neck. But in general, I play the tune out of its normal position with normal fingering, and then see what double stops are available to me without changing, the way the melody is fingered. Great question from Sentry. When I pick a tune, how do I make the notes sound more legato than staccato? Great question. So what that comes down to a lot of the time is kind of left and right hand coordination. So you got to start out super, this is the thing you got to do super slow. But let's take like a D scale, starting in the open D string. Just like that. And what you're going to do is as you get faster and faster, that coordination between your left and right hand starts to kind of fall apart a little bit. Because if your hands are out of sync with each other, you get things like this. Like, if your finger goes down before the pick hits it, it creates this little silent moment. So you have to get your two hands in sync, and the best way to do it is play super slow. Get as much note out of the note as possible. So it's a practice of just playing super slow, really working at that, and then slowly speeding up from there. It's, you know, as you play things that are more complicated, like, you know, and you start crossing strings as well. That's a great opportunity for things to get really choppy. So like, you know, taking a tune like Fischer's Hornpipe, where if you're playing it fast and it sounds like this. Then, but you want it to be super legato, then you got to play it super slow. Work out that pick direction. It's another thing that'll make things choppy and awkward. And then as you speed up, it really gets smooth, but you gotta get that smoothness slow and then slowly ramp up. Great question. Typing Hazard says it feels much easier to add harmony on guitar, but that might be because I'm just used to it. Yeah, it's totally like whatever you're used to, but it's the same idea. Like, you can add like harmony and other voice, like filling out melodies on a guitar, often by like playing out of chord shapes. And that's the same sort of idea of kind of what you're doing on a mandolin. Sometimes you got to kind of pick and choose between being in straight melody brain and then kind of figuring out, okay, I can throw a chord in there. Because of the tuning of the instrument, it's not, you can't put a chord down and then have like all the chord tones at your fingertips, like you can on the guitar. But it's, yeah, ultimately it's just kind of whatever you know best is going to be most comfortable. Can you play Tam Lin as complicated as you can? Great question. So that's the thing, like with a tune like Tam Lin or Fischer's Hornpipe, they're already all eighth notes, so there's like not much to really do to it in my mind to like complicate it outside of like getting into like full on improvisation. But I'll see what I can do. Tam Lin. You see, there's not much to like add to that. like you can. You can improvise around and like change the melody, but that's the thing about tunes, at least for me, and there's maybe somebody else could speak. I'm kind of only speaking to my own style. When a tune is all eighth notes, I feel like it kind of diminishes what you can kind of add to complicate it without changing the tune itself. Man, Shannon say, cheaper than buying a bunch of mandolins. Yeah, picks are a lot cheaper than buying mandolins. It's also cheaper than buying fiddle bows. Okay. Stuart was talking about kind of skills in the tool set. I think it depends on what kind of music you want to play. You gotta go play with people and figure out what it is that you're supposed to be doing, and then work on those skills. Because it really depends. Like really knowing how to play bluegrass chop chords isn't gonna help you if you're gonna, if you're trying to play like classical music, or like, knowing 101 old time tunes is not going to help you be a jazz mandolinist. You got to figure out, and if you want to do a little bit of everything, it's a steeper curve. You just got to like kind of build up your skill in each one of those areas. But and that's like one of the hard things about music is figuring out how to like troubleshoot your own playing, figuring out what it is that makes you excited to kind of pick up the instrument and keep going with it, and sort of get your own practice routines and motivation running, and then dissecting your own playing to figure out what it is that you need to work on. Capo 4 and chill. I saw. Did I see that as I saw some meme along those lines that was very specific, but I loved it. Hey, Betsy, good to have you here. Better late than never. That's the truth. Tune-wise, what are a handful of tunes we need to know through and through for beginner, intermediate, advanced levels, and the skill at those levels? That's another question that's like, it really depends. It depends. I think the only way to truly answer that question is to go to places and play with the people that you hear, like that you end up with, and like take notes. Like, so if first off, like, do you mean Irish? Do you mean old time? Do you mean bluegrass? Do you mean jazz? Like, those are all going to have different repertoire. And then if I go to an Irish session in Oregon, or I go to an Irish session in Maine, or I go to an Irish session in Ireland, it's the repertoire might be totally different. Like, you can just Google like top Irish tunes, and like the session.org has like a list of like most searched Irish tunes, so you'll find things like the Kesh Jig or whatever. In general, all the 95% of all the tunes on my website are very standard session tunes. I don't try to post things that are too crazy. The only time I post kind of obscure tunes is if they show up on an album I record. I try to make lessons on the tunes I record on albums. There's a couple like original tunes or tunes that like serve a particular purpose, that sort of like teach a technical skill. But most of the tunes on my website are classic. You can organize them by beginner, intermediate, advanced, genre, things like that. But I think the best way to kind of know what tunes you got to know is just that. I mean, that's what I've been doing here, is going to the local Irish session, or it's not really a session, but going to the Irish gig and playing tunes and figuring out, okay, they're playing that tune again, and I still don't know it, so better go home and learn it. Or if you want like a list, you can Google it, and it'll be just as true as anything that I say, because it really just depends on what tunes get played in the places you want to play. You can even just go and like listen. Often when I first go to a session, I just go and listen for a couple times, like go and hang out and listen to the people playing and be like, okay, like this is the speed they're playing at. These people seem friendly or unfriendly. Are there tunes here that I recognize? Ooh, that's a nice tune that I've heard them play a couple times. I'm just going to go, hey, what was that tune? And then they'll tell you, and then you write it down and go learn it. Things like that. Eunice's Hardware Store. I love that. It's the best hardware store in Belfast, Maine. Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. For sort of like what skills do you need in the toolbox? Practice, and also just like the act of doing. Nice, awesome. That's the thing. Like, if that's all you want to do is play mandolin, do it. Like, play nonstop. Play until you're like, if you can keep yourself entertained with the mandolin, which is sort of how I felt and feel to this day. Like, starting out, I didn't even think about it as practice because it was just like, I love doing this. I'm going to play the same tune over and over and over. Just because I wanted to. And then I would play it enough and be like, okay, I'm kind of tired of that tune. Move on to the next one. But if you can, like, keep yourself engaged and entertained on the mandolin, that's the best. That's the fastest channel to get good at your instrument. Ari says, can you give some tips and rules on moving up and down the full neck of the mandolin? Which positions on different strings are equivalent? How to choose where to shift up and down the neck, etc. So, I don't do a whole lot of that because playing traditional fiddle music, most everything is between the open fret and 7th fret. Like 99% of what I play is between my two fingers here. But as you shift, so like a quick little, so this is open position, first position, first position. Second position is where your second finger would be if you were in first position. Hope that's helpful. So like first position is here, second position is here, third position is here, fourth position is here, and you're just moving your pointer finger to that spot. So first position, second position, third position, fourth position. And then in terms of like where to switch, it's really melody dependent. It's gonna depend on kind of what comes before and what comes after. So let's see. So like right there, I'm staying up in that third position because if I shifted down, it's just a little more awkward of going like da 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 da. You just gotta like figure out what notes you need to play, and then figure out like, okay, is that gonna be easier? Is it going to be easier to like jump up there for a second just to get it and then get back into first position, or is it going to be easier like if you're playing extended stuff up here, like if you need to hit that high D a bunch of times over the length of a couple measures, it might make sense to stay in that position. So it's not a very clear answer, but that's kind of the way it is depends on the melody. You got to work through it. Anytime you hit one of those spots where you're like, okay, I need that really high note, then take that like what comes before and what comes after, and that phrase with the high note, take it out of context and really kind of work with it for a little while. Like, okay, what's the best way to do that? Do I go up there and stay there for a while? Do I just go grab it and come back? Just kind of depends. Is it sacrilegious to put a pick holder on the back of the tuners? Not really. I would say if that's what you really want, you could do that. It might hurt the finish, but it's your mandolin, you know? You got to do what you got to do. Unusual request from Will. I love the good unusual request. I love the pick attack sound on my mandolin, MD315, at 5 to 9 range, especially on lower strings. My request, is there a song to learn that is based in that position? So 5 to 9. I would say take... I don't know of any tunes that are like kind of based out of that area. I think it's an interesting area on the instrument. I find it, especially kind of for bluegrass, like getting up the neck a little bit into that third position. That was extremely messy, but in that you get a certain sound from different like spots on the instrument just because of the way that, like, you know, the thickness of the string. So you're playing like 9th fret on the G string versus 2nd fret on the D string. Same note, but very different kind of tonal quality. So if you like that range, you can either work out melodies that you already know, like maybe Seneca square dance. Versus down in open position. So if you like that zone, just take tunes. Mostly tunes aren't like traditional fiddle tunes are written in first position, open position, first position, whatever you want to call it. Because it's just kind of the way it is, I guess. Like, but you know, if you want to get used to that area, take a tune you already know. Take Seneca square dance. There might be tunes that work better in that zone, or tunes that work worse. Like if it's got an open G or a 2nd fret on the G string, you're gonna have to shift down to get that because there is no A on the G string anywhere in here. Cool. Glad you're enjoying it, Matt and Shannon. Sherry says, I love Tamlin, been building speed myself. Trying to build my speed up when playing it. Yeah, it's a notey one. It's notey, it's got a lot of string crossing. You really got to keep your pick direction on point, or it kind of starts to fall apart. But yeah, you know, slowly building up speed is what it's all about. And then it'll make playing other tunes a little faster, that much easier. So yeah, Mando Pirate, on that kind of the Tamlin thing, like, see if you can. So yeah, it's like like what I'm doing on the intermediate series on Gallopede, where you have you get into kind of melodic variation, or just kind of getting your right hand moving, like this week's lesson. Is the same idea. Like maybe if your Tamlin sounds like then see if you can just get your right hand force your right hand to be in a constant state of up and down, and try to get your left hand to fret notes that sound good. It's kind of a weird thing to say, but that's a good way to sort of figure out. That's a way to kind of fancy things up. Typing Hazard has never heard Tamlin before. Yeah, it's a great kind of epic minor tune. As a beginner, what to start with from a tool? I would say look at my beginner series. So I've got a beginner series here on YouTube or MandoLessons.com. It's all free. It starts right out from, like, if you don't even know how to hold the instrument, right there through getting your first tune and your first song under your fingers, get some chords and some scales. That's the way to go. And then just after that, just look around on MandoLessons.com and see what tunes you like the sound of. And just play and have as much fun as possible. All right, Mando Pirate, good to see you. By the time I read this, he'll be gone. Good to see you. All right, I'm going to do a little lightning round here, and then we're going to play Seneca Square Dance. And then you all can go hang out at Matt and Shannon's session. Lightning round, okay. Awesome feature on the website of random tune suggester. Ooh, I like that idea. I'll see if I can get my my buddy who helps me with website things to build me. It's like the random Wikipedia article. Is that even still a feature on Wikipedia? Like, random article link button. Do I play any David Grisman tunes? Not so much. It's been a long time. If there are songs that live in fourth position. Yeah, mostly they mostly just live in open position, but if you want to, like, most of them can also be moved into that other spot. You just gotta kind of work things that are already there. Cool. Nice. Glad that helped. Well, Jim says, does doing it wrong for a long time create a new style? Yes, I would say it does. Flatbush Waltz by Andy Statman. Great tune. That's a great recommendation from Bluebird there. Brian says, as we get close to the end, just wanted to say thanks. I managed to impress my nieces and nephews. So nice. Well, appreciate it. Playing for them a bit. Not easily impressed since they're in their teens. See if they, put the mandolin in their hands and teach them like a G, C, and D chord and show them how easy it is just to get those 3 chords under their fingers and then all the songs they can sing. Wow, all right, we got super chats coming in from Brianne and Edward. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's the thing. If doing it wrong still produces a sound people like, then is it really wrong? The only thing I can add to that is, like, if it's wrong and it, like, just don't hurt yourself, Like, don't do something that causes pain. And do something that's fun. And if you like it, if it sounds good, it is good. All right, let's do a little bit of Seneca Square Dance here. Oh, wow. We got super chats coming in from all over. Whoa, my goodness. Sherry and Joe and Edward and Brianne, thank you so much for the super chats. Hope you all have a great holiday. And however you choose to support me is greatly appreciated. Not required, but there's the super chat function. There's a link in the description to a PayPal tip jar. And there's, of course, Patreon. A ton of folks here are also patrons. Get some perks over there as well. So, a little bit of Seneca Square Dance. I'll play the melody, you play the chords, and then we'll swap around. I'll play the chords, you play the melody. 1, 2, you know what to do. B. Sorry. B2. And you take the melody. A2. Take it. B part. B2. I'll take it. One more. Take it. B. And there we have it. And what tune should we do next week? Put it in the chat real quick. I know I'm making you all late to Matt and Shannon's thing. Lewis, you can definitely get a note. You can forge my signature. Only Lewis though. Don't want everybody forging my signature. Lilting Banshee for next week. Let's see if that's on the old list here. Have I done? I think. JKL Lilting. See Lilting Banshee. We did that on episode 112. So that was only a couple ago. So let's pick something that hasn't been done quite as quickly. I'll catch up with the chat here. Awesome. Glad you enjoyed that, Johan. Merry Christmas to all. Yes, indeed. Sherry says, Happy New Year, everyone. Stay safe and healthy. 2022 will bring more gentle than 2021. I hope so as well. Shenandoah. I have not taught Shenandoah on my website, but that's a good one. Oh, is there one next week? If it's Christmas Day, then no. Yeah, no live stream next week. Probably not one on the 1st either. Probably on the 8th is going to be a good one. Ooh, Jim Ward's. I think we've done Whiskey Before Breakfast. We have actually not done Whiskey Before Breakfast. Let's do that. I've done it on my website, but we have not done it in the live stream. Whiskey Before Breakfast. Next one. And then Jim Ward's. I don't think I've taught Jim Ward's. It's a great tune. Oh, I have taught Jimmy Ward's. Cool. Let's do Jimmy Ward's after Whiskey Before Breakfast. Happy holidays, everyone. Thanks so much for tuning in. See you in a couple weeks, probably on the 8th. Next week is Christmas. The week after that is New Year's Day. Week after that, I think, is going to be the next time for a live stream. Stay safe, stay well, and see you all soon. Bye-bye. I'm coming back. We're doing 8th of January. If we're going to have a live stream on the 8th of January, we're going to do 8th of January. That is a brilliant idea from Jim. You thought I was gone, but I do read the chat for a moment after I sign off. Yep, 8th of January it is. Thank you, Jim, for noticing that. If we are having a live stream on the 8th of January, we will be playing the tune 8th of January. See you all soon. All right. Goodbye for real.